Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kadash, and Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh. In his only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahushua. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the last rest of the tongue. And I said, Barak to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I said, Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson, a quick sit-down lesson of the World War III news updates as of July the 21st, 2026, and it's Tuesday night. And as we continue to see the escalations as we continue to see the escalations heating up on a day-to-day basis, especially over there, the battle of the Strait of Hormuz between the United States and Iran and its allies on both sides. And then you got tensions heating up with the Russian-Ukrainian situation on a day-to-day basis. And then you got the Houthi rebels going against the Saudi Arabia and their coalition forces. So we're seeing tensions are heating up over there in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza Strip, West Bank, Palestinian territories. Despite the fact recent talks from Lebanon and Israel, despite the fact meditation talks between both sides via email, via text on both sides from the United States and Iran. Besides all that, tensions are only going to continue to increase, despite the fact of all that. And this is a news article from RT.com. It says Trump expect to keep launching strikes on Iran from British bases. Telegraph has reported Washington is repeatedly pressuring the new UK Prime Minister to continue his pressure-setting policies. The U.S. President Donald Trump is allegedly pressing the new British Prime Minister Andy Burnham, if I pronounce his name right, to continue allowing American forces to use military bases for strikes on Iran, the Telegraph claimed on Tuesday. The report came after the two leaders held the first call on Monday, shortly after Burnham formally took office. Trump describes the conversation as very good and praised the outstanding relationship between the U.S. and the UK. According to Trump, the two discussed North Sea oil trade, their military alliance, and the denumbing of the Strait of Hormuz, among other issues. Durham also invited the U.S. president to Manchester for next year's G20 summit. Neither side publicly whether the use of British military facilities was discussed. However, the Telegraph reported that Washington has demanded that Durham continues to let the U.S. use the RAF Fairford and the Alaska share in Diego Garcia in a British-controlled military base in Indian Ocean. U.S. officials told the newspaper that Trump remains deeply disappointed with NATO countries after Revelation 17, verse 16. Countries have refused or restrict American access, while even having tension between Spain and the United States previously about the military bases when Iran and Israel was taking place a couple months back. It says access during their bases during the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. So I'm leave right there. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, in verse 6. So, like I mentioned again, the tensions are only going to escalate between Iran and the United States, especially over there in the Strait of Hormuz. Matthew 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's where we hear wars and rumors of wars between Iran and the United States, and between Russia and Ukraine. Tensions between NATO and the United States-led bloc. Tensions between Pakistan versus Afghanistan. Tensions between the Iranians going against the Kurdistan armies and the pro-Kurdistan armies over there in Iraq. I think they just did another recent strike I seen 2 hours ago from Al Jazeera. So that actually tensions are only going to escalate in that area. So that's an indicator. So tensions over there in Iraq, Syria, tensions are only going to escalate, especially between the Iranian, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They still going to have high tensions against the Kurdistan armies and the pro-Kurdistan armies over there in Iraq and over there in Syria as well too. Matthew 24, verse 7. Once again, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which goes to Ethnos. And there shall be famines and pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. Luke 21 and verse 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations will perplex wage war. Right, so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the distress of nations will perplex wage war. So that's only going to continue to increase. Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose of heaven. Right, so we're living these modern day times and seasons, and every purpose of heaven, which is modern day biblical science, science times. Go down a couple of verses. Ecclesiasticus 3, verse 8 reads, it says, in a time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, and time of peace. Right, so we still live in a time of HATE, and we still live in a time of war. That's why we're seeing wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, which is only going to continue to increase. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which are the armies of the nations, prepare a war, wake up the mighty men, that all the men of war shall all men come up. Like that's what we see throughout Western Asia, over there in the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, and other tensions of heating up around the world. As the prophet Joel mentioned, that the Heavenly Father is going to continue to wake up the mighty men, that all the men of war shall all men come up, being gotten up over there in Western Asia. Joel 3, verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and the pointing of empty spears, let the weak stand strong. Right, so you're going to have the Iranians still going to pound the United States armies, just like the United States pounding the Iranian armies, so they pounding each other. And then you got the proxy groups and the pro-Iranian groups, rise up against the Israel Defense Force and the United States Army, their allies over there in Western Asia. So that's an indicator that the weak stand strong when we see signs of them. And this is the book of Revelations, chapter 9, verse 12. It says that one more pass, behold, there come two will say that after. Right, so one more pass, behold, there come two will say that after. So check out the Al Jazeera. Some more World War III news updates. Yep, it says breaking news from Al Jazeera. U.S. bomb Iran's for the 11th night, right, 11th straight night. It says Hexef says the war has cost $37.5 billion so far. Man, that's a lot of money to fund the war. That's a lot of money. It says, watch 9 minutes ago. It says Kuwait ration electricity after Iran strikes hits power grid. It says 19 minutes ago. It says the United Arab Emirates condemns Houthis' threats against Saudi after wars and rumors of wars. It says 29 minutes ago, Rubio says U.S. open-minded on war on Iran. It says U.S. target China in a move to ban military grade drones imports. Right, and that comes with the news that not too long ago that Trump was blaming China with meddling with the elections, which is kind of bugged out. So that is tensions are still there between China and the United States. Another sign of wars and rumors of wars. That goes back to that political wars and economical wars and nuclear wars been on and on back and forth between the United States and China. So that's wars and rumors of wars. And you still see the alliance between China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and all other nations that's allies with them as well too. And this is the book of Revelations 11 verse 14. The second will pass, but hope the third will come quickly. Right, so the second will pass, but hope the third will come quickly. So this was just a quick sit-down lesson of the World War III news updates as of July the 21st, 2026, on this Tuesday night. So hopefully this was edifying. And with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Makakadash, and the Heavenly Father that you made is Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. So, and the Heavenly Father that you made is Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names, the ancient belly of the Hebrew, of Christ over And I said Barak to the elders and apostles, wa akim akbaf. Till next time, I would say Kumesh Shalom and Ball. Shalom.